In Congress, July 4th, 1776, the Founding Fathers introduced the Declaration of Independence, forever changing the course of the world and political thought. The Declaration of Independence was a statement adopted by the Continental Congress on July 4th, 1776, which announced that the 13 American colonies then at war with Great Britain regarded themselves as independent states and no longer part of the British Empire. John Adams had put forth a resolution earlier in the year, making a subsequent formal declaration inevitable. A committee was assembled to draft the formal declaration and to be ready when Congress voted on independence. Adams persuaded the committee to select Thomas Jefferson to compose the original draft of the document. Now, what is most interesting about this in terms of political thought is that this was truly an experiment that had not been tried before in the history of the world. Never before had a government, had a group of men with the reins of power over a state, willingly handed them over to the people to govern themselves. Much of the political philosophy that was behind the formation of the Declaration of Independence stemmed from what we now refer to as Enlightenment or Enlightenment philosophy. The term Enlightenment or the American Enlightenment refers to the intellectual period in America in the mid to late 18th century. Influenced by the scientific revolution of the 17th century and the humanist period during the Renaissance, the Enlightenment took scientific reasoning and applied it to human nature, society, and religion. Politically, the age is distinguished by an emphasis upon liberty, democracy, republicanism, and religious tolerance. Now, it's interesting here how you see the words democracy and republicanism, from which we inherit the terms of our two contemporary political parties, or the main political parties, I should say. I want to talk more about those terms and generally how we use language. There are some similarities between what those words meant back then and what they mean now, but there are many differences. It's important as we build a framework for our own political thought that we are using language accurately and that we understand the way each other are using the words. For example, many today identify their politics as liberal. Some today identify themselves as a part of a political group being the classical liberals. Both use the same word. In fact, the word stems from the Latin root that also informs words such as liberty. However, a liberal and a classical liberal are probably not the same thing. However, a classical liberal could hold social liberal philosophies, but a classical liberal can hold social conservative philosophies and still identify as a classical liberal. Now, if you're not confused enough, we can talk more on this, or we can rewind, and we can define terms. And that's what I mean about being clear about the way we use language. And before we move further, I would like to define some of these general terms, and these will be the definitions that we will use for the remainder of the course.